On today's show, Luka Doncic goes down with an injury. Are we concerned about it? And how much? The Dallas Mavericks somehow hold on to beat the Pelicans after a 31-point lead. What happened? Talk about all that and more in today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and comment anything below. Let us know what's one reason why the Mavericks beat the Pelicans tonight, or one reason why they almost blew a 30-point lead. I guess I gotta let it ride, but I'll let it ride a little lower. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The heel Hercules, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
All right, we'll start off with some good news first before we talk about Luka's heel.
Thank the Lord.
Some good news. Your boys that you're listening to right now. You listen to this on Thursday night, then it's tomorrow, which is probably not Thursday night. If you listen to this Friday morning, it's today. Today, on the Bleacher Report app.
Team Stream, Mavs Team Stream.
Nick and myself are doing a live Mavs trade deadline preview show on the Bleacher Report app at 3 p.m. Central Time. So download the app. I think you can also watch it online. But yeah, we're going to talk about all Mavs stuff, latest rumors. We're going to do a little Q&A.
Take chat questions.
Take some chat questions and stuff. So yeah, hop on the Bleacher Report app and join us for a Mavs preview trade.
As soon as you get in the Bleacher Report app, raccoon emoji. Send it up. We got another Raccoon Squad is there. All right, let's get into it. So today, the Dallas Mavericks get a win, 111-106. If you just looked at it, you'd be like, oh, it's a pretty good win. 111-105.
Close game.
111-105. They beat the Pistons the other night. And you're like, oh, okay, close game. And then if you start digging into it, you realize how wild and weird this game was. Mavericks got... the game itself doesn't necessarily matter as much as third quarter, or the Dallas Mavericks were up by 27 points. Luka Doncic falls as he goes for a layup, a dunk, whatever Luka was going to do at the rim. Gets hit at the rim by Jonas Valanciunas as well as Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram got all ball. And Luka gets up, grabs his right ankle, and kind of like was messing around, just around the ankle, like Achilles area, but the front of his ankle, but also just his ankle, right ankle, which is not the left ankle he had the issue with, where he missed a couple of games earlier this season. Luka then stayed on the bench as they reviewed the play. So he stayed on the bench. He didn't put his warm-ups on or anything. He went back into the game. He stayed back in the game for another minute. And then when the clock stopped again, Luka exited, went to the locker room, and he did not come back to the bench or come back into the game. Again, the Mavericks were up by 27 at this point, and then the Pelicans cut the lead to 3. Later, at the end of the third quarter, we would learn that Luka suffered a heel contusion and that he would not come back in this game. We asked Jason Kidd after the game if the lead wouldn't have been so big, would Luka have come back in this game? And Jason Kidd immediately said, oh no, this was not a case of he could possibly come back in. This is something that would definitely keep him out of at least this game. They're going to evaluate him tomorrow and see what happens. What was your reaction with Luka's injury?
I mean, anytime it's a heel, you get a little bit more concerned. When the play happened, those injuries get really scary whenever a player is falling to the ground and they stick out, their arm or their leg at a weird angle to brace themselves. And, this was one of those injuries. I mean, I'm sure y'all have all seen the replay of it, but Luka's coming down really hard and he sticks that right leg out kind of late in the fall there. But it happens so quick, like you just kind of do it out of instincts. And he like twists his right foot there. And at first I'm like, all right, you serious? He twisted an ankle again.
Yeah, I know.
And he's holding it, and he walks so gingerly over to the bench. But like always, we're like, it's Luka. He's going to be fine in like 2 minutes.
He got me, though. He got me on this one because he was really holding it. He was limping. He was really wincing. Then he goes to the bench. I'm like, oh, no, Luka's going to be out. And then he plays again. And I'm like, oh, he got me. He got me again. I believed it. And then he actually leaves the game. So he like got me a bunch of different times. And
just went straight through the tunnel, too. Didn't even walk back to the bench.
Right.
Just like straight out the tunnel.
Which I wouldn't be too concerned about that specific thing. They wanted to, like, Casey Smith wanted to check out the ankle and everything, so he was going to go right back to the locker room.
Yeah. Well, like in the fact that he just left the game. I mean, they obviously put him out there just to see how. Hey, let's just see if you can play on it.
Yeah.
And then first dead ball, it's like, hey, I'm out. I can't play on this thing.
Play on it.
So yeah, I mean, as soon as it said right heel contusion, anything with the heel wears you a little bit more than the ankle, or at least for me. I think you start looking at contusions. There's so many different iterations of contusion injuries. So I don't want to speculate, do any of that stuff, but we'll just wait for an update.
We'll wait for an update, see what happens. If Luka does miss extended time, we just did this, I feel like 2 weeks ago. If Luka does miss extended time, what changes for the Mavericks in the next like 7 days before the trade deadline?
I mean, honestly, I don't know if anything changes. I mean, even if they said, hey, he's going to be out for 2 weeks, like, I mean, that shouldn't be the, the gas for you to go, to go get something. That shouldn't be the reason why you go out and make a trade to bring in more firepower, to help the team out. So, I mean, I think either way they're going to go do it. I think the only way it would like change any direction between now and the trade deadline, we're recording this on Thursday. So if you're listening to this on Friday, there's 6 days left before the trade deadline, less than a week as it's next Thursday. I mean, unless God forbid Luka's out for like months, right. I don't see anything changing, as far as their approach to the trade deadline.
Yeah, they should want to try to upgrade right now, but they should also still be looking at the future and still be looking at this summer. And I don't think that a Luka injury changes much of that. It would be hard for some people are going to say tank. It's too late. Like you're too late in the season.
Are we doing that again?
You'd have to sell off all the pieces and find trades for everybody and like do a whole bunch of stuff. And then like for those people that are saying tank, do you trust this front office enough to strip it all down and then build it back up from nothing again, right? Like, is that what you're asking? I don't think that the people that are saying tank trust the front office. And so what are you really asking the team to do, to break it all down and build it all up from literally nothing? You haven't liked the moves they've made recently, so why would you like that? So I would
hope if I don't even want to talk about the tank.
That's why I'm kind of I'm putting it down, because if you're a person that's saying that, if you're sitting at home saying, why don't they just tank? Luka's these 2 injuries now, the team's terrible when he's not out there, like the offense is so bad. That's the reason why you don't, right? It's like because
but I think Nico and them would deserve a shot at something like that instead of having
think that. I think that. I don't think the people that are saying tank think that, right? Like
what has he done so wrong? I mean, he's only been here for 2 years. I understand if it's like Donnie.
We don't need to get into this right now, but the front office.
JaVale McGee. I mean,
the front office Q rating is not high right now. I would say that
because JaVale.
It's not.
Everybody's out on Nico.
I mean, it's not just that.
JaVale.
It's Brunson leaving. There's a bunch of different things.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Coming up, let's get into this game. How did the Dallas Mavericks build up a 31-point lead, 27-point lead when Luka was out, and then it cuts all the way down to 3, some weird reffing things at the end that we may have to admit to, and then still hold on to win. How did the Mavericks do that? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you to figure out how you can get the best people for your jobs, how you can hire the best people. If you're a small business owner, you know that every single person matters. You know that if your best person is missing, the rest of your team has to be able to step up. And that's what LinkedIn Jobs helps you to find those type of people. They help you quickly attract qualified candidates to your open jobs with targeting tools. They go beyond the resume data by using insights from your job post. And there are 875 million member profiles to find your post in front of the most qualified candidates. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easy to screen and rate applicants based on your host qualifications, all in one platform. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into this game. Dallas Mavericks find a way to win, 111-106. Mavericks were cruising in the first half of this game. Was just a great game. They built up a 31-point lead. It wasn't even threes either. They were 8 of 17 from three. They were going to the free throw line. They were getting stuff done. Like Luka scored 27 points in the first half. It just was coming up all Mavericks. And one of the reasons for that, we have to acknowledge that the Pelicans were stuck in Denver for a couple of games. They couldn't fly in. Normally they would fly in the day before, and then they would play the Mavericks the next day. They get the night in Dallas. They get to wake up, do their routines, all that kind of stuff, have a shoot around possibly. They could have done all that kind of stuff. But because of the weather, the ice and everything built up in Dallas, a bunch of flights were canceled. Our neighbor was going to go fly to Orlando, and he wasn't able to fly on Wednesday because they just canceled all these flights. And so the Pelicans had to fly in on Thursday. They flew in the same day that they were going to play. CJ McCollum tweeted about it. Larry Nance tweeted about it, that even when they showed up in Dallas, that the buses weren't there for them to leave. And there was just all kind of weird stuff. And so it seemed like it was going to be one of those games where Pelicans were just gassed. They didn't really have anything. And the Mavericks were just going to cruise to a victory. That's what it seemed like in the first half. And you kind of understand from the Pelicans' point of view. No Zion for them. And Ingram's just still coming back from an injury. And then Luka goes down, and then all of a sudden the lead just like whittles and whittles away. What did you see from the Mavericks when that lead just started to dwindle down?
Oh, it was brutal. There was just no offense being ran. It felt like it was just, hey, we lost our guy. Luka went down early in the third quarter, and that second half, I think Pelicans outscored them by 22 points. Yeah, 22 points in the second half. Dallas shot 30% from the field in the second half. They only hit 13 shots for the whole half. 25% from three in the second. It's just everything crumbled. Everything felt like it. I don't even know what the proper analogy is. That you just take Luka out of it. It's like, what do we do? And it's like the other night you didn't have Luka, so it was super weird. I was making jokes. I was like, hey, just wheel Luka out at right now to midcourt, give him the MVP trophy. I don't care if he can walk or anything. If they came all the way back, what did they cut it to at the very end? How close did they get?
They cut it to three with the 3 seconds that we have to talk about here.
I mean, Mural Man is demanding so much more money now, so he's gonna be going on all the radios and his PR team and is like, hey, I'm paying a new mural after this one.
Send Luka help. Your analogy that you were looking for was Luka alone, cornerstone. The Mavs will fall when he leaves the court.
Did you just think of this?
Yeah, I'm just. I immediately thought that Luka was. I immediately thought of cornerstone because when you're putting like an arch up, you have the cornerstone that's in the middle, right? Like, do you have a guitar? Should we get the guitar? Should we get the guitar out? But you have the cornerstone that's in the middle, and when you pull the cornerstone out, all of it crumbles, right? It just seemed like that's what happened with the Mavericks offense in this game. And it's interesting because the Mavericks offense kind of holds up when Luka's not going to be in the game at the beginning, but when he leaves the game with injury, it just seems like it crumbles. And the offensive scheme for this team, I cannot believe still at this point of the season, how many games in are we? We are 53 games into the season.
In the year of our Lord.
53 games in the season, no Brunson, no third ball handler, Dinwiddie, Luka, that this is what the offense is still, right? Like, I cannot believe we're still in this spot. Luka has missed some games. Luka has been off the court. And when Luka's off the court, this team just absolutely, just goes to Dinwiddie, handle the ball, do it, make a basket or make a play or nothing. It's literally what it is, and it drives me insane to watch this offense. They'll run the same stuff that they'll run with Luka. They'll run the double drags. They'll run all right, Dinwiddie doesn't start with the ball, but then he starts in the corner and he comes over and he gets the ball, and then all of a sudden it's back to, and they just try and get it seemed like in this game, they just tried to let's just get a switch. Let's get a switch with Larry Nance, and then Dinwiddie will cook him. You're not going to cook Larry Nance like that. Like, he's good on his feet. He's long. He's a good defender. You're just not going to cook like that.
He did cook him one time, though. That was awesome.
Okay, one time compared to like the other times. How many times did he get blocked at the rim? At least two or three times. But I cannot. I think it's a bigger picture problem. I'm not even putting this on Dinwiddie. It's what is the scheme? What are they running? Like what is different between when Luka's in the game and when Luka's not in the game? And just it seems like nothing. Doesn't seem like anything's different when Luka's not in the game. This season so far, 1,500 possessions, which is like a lot. 107 points per 100 possessions offense. That is a 8th percentile. That's so bad. And when Luka's on the court this season, come on, clean the glass. 120. So it goes from 120 to 107. Like that's the drop off from Luka. That's how good Luka's been this season because they're running the same things when Luka's in there.
Yeah, I mean, well, just the fact that they had 27-point lead when he got hurt, and then they basically lost it, or got it cut down to a 3-point.
They didn't lose
lead.
it.
I mean,
They kept it. They
kept it, but it got down to 3 points and freaked everybody out. And Mavs forgot about Frank. That's one of the reasons why maybe they lost the lead. But the Pelicans, they only hit 5 threes in this game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just imagine if they hit, I don't know, 3 to 5 more. They might have won.
Imagine if they hit 2 more. They could have won.
But also, I don't want to do the David McMenamin Lakers thing of, hey, if only this team hit threes.
Pelicans have really been struggling offensively this last stretch here with Zion out and Ingram's missing time, and they've had guys in and out. Like they've really struggled offensively, and so it was actually weird to see them be really good offensively late in this game against the Mavericks, and kind of concerning, but. Yeah, I think it was offense just broke down, and then some weird stuff happened at the end. But they ended up winning this game, so this feels like a loss. Yeah. When I'm talking to Josh Green after the game, it felt like I asked him. I said, "What's the vibe in the locker room? What do you guys talk about in the locker room when you have a 30-point lead? It comes down to 3, and you guys almost like blow this lead. You still get the win, but you almost blow the lead." He's like, "Well, it's unacceptable." He's like, "We're not talking about." How good we played because we didn't, but you just kind of have to brush it off, and you can't dwell on stuff like this too long. We got to get ready for Golden State. I was like, okay, so that's a very stately answer from Josh Green, but he definitely acknowledged with his mannerisms, facial expression, the way that he was talking, that they were really bummed that they just almost blew that game.
Well, I mean, if you draw up, what's the worst kind of wins? I think if you're drawing it up in a lab. I would put these 2 check marks in that.
If you're the NFL and you're scripting your season, how would you script a really bad win for a team?
Dude, that's pulled out some all-time quote tweets.
It's amazing.
But anyway,
if you haven't seen it, Arian Foster, who used to play for the Texans,
what a joke.
Had this thing. He was doing like a Barstool interview or something with. And they had a bit that he said that the NFL was scripted. They scripted every game, and he had to follow the script and all this stuff. And a lot of NFL players ran with it and had some fun with it.
But if you had to script out in a lab or write out what
you and Roger Goodell are sitting in a writer's room.
What a bad win would be, it would be 1, a Luka Doncic injury, 2, you blow a huge lead, but you barely win at the end. Like those are like 2 big things that you're walking out of this win saying, well, dang, Luka's hurt, and we literally blew a 30-point lead, but we still won. So it feels weird, but what's up with Tim? Like somebody tweeted at me and was like, hey, is the trade rumors, affecting him? I mean, the dude played 40 minutes tonight. I mean, none of this is affecting his playing time. So, none of it is affecting his green light. 3 of 18 tonight, 2 of 12 from the 3-point line. He missed 10 threes in this game.
He played 4 more minutes than anybody else in the Mavericks.
Yeah. So, man, I don't know. I don't have anything.
So Tim's missed a couple games with an injury, but last 9 games he missed a couple games in this stretch. But last 9 games that he's played, 10 points a game, 5 rebounds. We were like that. You'd be like, okay, those are fine, like okay, counting stats. 28.7% from the field on 12 field goal attempts. 24.3% from 3 on 7.5 3-point attempts per game. 58.8% from the free throw line at 2.5 free throws a game. And he's playing 34 minutes.
Show Kobe off in that.
34, yeah, seriously. 34 minutes a game, 4th on the Mavericks in the last 9 games. He is just going through it right now. And it could be the trade talks, but like he had a couple of okay plays in transition, but he's been tonight, but he's been really bad in transition overall. Defensively, he's always just been fine, but like not good. And he's just really bad. Like for him to play 40 minutes like this, I think this is more detrimental than even the beginning of the season when like Bullock had those 30-minute 0-point games. He's taken like 3 shots in that, right? But when you have Tim Hardaway Jr. that takes like 12 shots a game and 7.5 threes a game and is shooting 28%. Like I would much rather have like a 0-point game than that, because then there's the long rebounds and that's when you get the fast break points on the other end. Like it becomes detrimental for your team. Especially knowing how this team responds to missed threes, right? Like this team responds really badly to missed threes.
Yeah, in missed threes comes rebounds, and shout out to the rebounding battle tonight. Come on down. The Mavericks lost the rebounding battle tonight by 14 rebounds.
Almost lost the game.
That's wild. Dorian had a really good game. I do want to say that. I thought he did hit 3 threes in this game. But let's take a break, and then we'll talk about Josh Green and the end of this game, because I think we got some luck at the end.
How did the Mavs get lucky? What did Josh Green do to step up? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel is your place to go for the Super Bowl.
Talking about getting lucky.
America's #1 sportsbook. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner because they're the #1 sportsbook in America. If you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel right now. You can bet on the Super Bowl with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. So you really don't have anything to worry about. You're really not gambling at all with that no sweat first bet. Like you're really not.
I'm a pastor.
Do I need to get the guitar out again and sing?
I love you 3,000.
The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, it's secure, and it's super easy to use. Go check it out. FanDuel today. FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Isaac Harris, let's talk about this game. Came down to the end of it. Mavericks have a 31-point lead. They break it all. The Pelicans break it all the way down to 3 at the end, and there is some weird referee shenanigans in this game. The Mavericks did struggle fouling in this game. Dwight Powell had 5 fouls early in this game, fouled out with about 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in this game. Jonas Valanciunas ate him up in a bunch of different ways, as he would, being so much bigger than he is. By the way, Jonas Valanciunas looks exactly like Travis Kelce. Like, that's all I could think about the whole game. It's like he was mocking me. Dorian Finney-Smith got 5 fouls in this game. And into the fourth quarter, off of 2 plays in a row, about the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter, where he gets a foul on one play that was a foul, and then a 5th foul on an awful Jose Alvarado 3-point shot where he takes.
What was that?
Jose Alvarado takes the 3, turns to the side, and then bounces backwards, and in his bouncing backwards, bounced into Dorian's foot and then fell down. The referee is looking at the shooter, calls it's a 3-point shot, but then watches the ball go up and then doesn't see the fall and just looks down and sees Jose Alvarado on the ground. And then he calls the foul on it. Jose Alvarado missed the 3, calls the foul. They go to the review to see if it's a flagrant foul.
I've never seen a flagrant review for that whenever the player had already landed.
There has to be something where okay, we're reviewing the foul to see if it meets the criteria of a flagrant. Okay, but what if it doesn't meet the criteria of a foul? What if it's not a foul anymore? You can't reverse it at that point. I think that's weird. But yeah, that play was bad. Dorian got his 5th foul. It affected the game. It wasn't the reason why the Mavs almost lost. Then you get down to the end of the game, and there's this really weird moment where 9 seconds left. Ingram scores on Josh Green on a pull-up shot. Pelicans are down by 3. Mavs have to call a timeout because they get trapped on the baseline. They weren't going to get the ball out. Weird. Call a timeout. Josh Green inbounds the ball from right in front of the Pelicans bench, literally standing right in front of it. Josh Green inbounds it. Brandon Ingram swipes at the ball, deflects it, and it should have been Pelicans' ball at that point because he was inbounds, but he was called out of bounds by the ref.
He jumped up and he hit the ball. I didn't want the whole like swipe at it because if somebody didn't see it, they'd think that
true. Yeah,
swipe.
Josh Green tries to throw in the ball. Ingram hits it in the air, and it should have been called Pelicans ball. They got the ball after that, but Ingram was called out of bounds on that play. They go and review it, and then they don't give it back. They don't give it back to the Pelicans, and then the Mavericks inbound the ball. Dinwiddie gets fouled immediately. They take a couple seconds off the clock. 2 seconds left. Dinwiddie hits 2 free throws. The Mavericks end up winning this game. But that was another play where we already got the classic.
Well, it was like 2-1. Tim Cato was the pool reporter after the game, and immediately, I mean, they're not doing a referee association tweet about sleepless nights after it, but immediately they said they missed both of these because one, after Ingram tips the ball, he jumps up to save it, and they call him out of bounds.
Yeah.
He was still in the air, so they missed that. He
wasn't out of bounds.
But the fact, the wild thing about it was they threw it in bounds. After Ingram tried to save it, it comes back into the game, and it, Josh Green or somebody catches, or actually a Pelicans player catches it, and time goes off the clock. It's like a second or something.
Yeah.
So if the call was for them, that he stepped out of bounds, then the play should have stopped. Then they didn't put the time back on. Then they passed in the Dinwiddie. They lose another second and a half. After that, it's like they got screwed on time. I don't care. We are on the best side of it. So we're going to soak it in. We need the win. So I would be pissed.
Got a great Larry Nance Jr. This play will weigh heavily and cause sleepless nights. On that he quote tweeted that.
We never got to talk about that. That is one of the most ludicrous things I've ever seen.
This Nance tweet references when LeBron got fouled by Ingram at the end of that Lakers-Celtics game. Tatum, he got fouled by Tatum at the end of a Lakers-Celtics game recently, and the referees tweeted out from the official referee account that this will weigh heavily on us and this will cause sleepless nights because of this miss that we made.
I didn't think that tweet was real. I honestly didn't. Like the official referee account. I mean, how much can we bow down to LeBron? And you miss a call about LeBron. I'm like, you literally just opened this up for every fan base across the NBA that you miss calls on, and you're literally saying sleepless nights. What? I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it.
LeBron James, king of kings, he is the GOAT.
His reaction, priceless. And the LeBron's audacity after the game to say, I watch basketball every night. Bullcrap. I watch basketball every night. This doesn't happen to anybody else. What? What? Then that proves that you don't watch basketball every night. Well, come on.
Come on, man.
What a joke. Whatever.
You good? You got it out of your system?
The LeBron quote was funny.
So
that's
funny.
just LeBron. The referee tweet was an all-timer. I was shocked by that. Like, all right.
We can't not do this episode without talking about Josh Green. Josh Green, I thought, really stepped up at the end of this game, hit a big three. He had the post finish, 2 minutes left. Dinwiddie was holding the ball a lot. They weren't running an offense. Dinwiddie struggled in clutch at the end of this game, except for those 2 free throws he hit. Dinwiddie had like a bad turnover, an air ball, blocked on a step back, and three straight possessions for him. But Josh Green, with 2 minutes left, hits a post finish. Then he hits a huge three. And then at 25 seconds, he has this great defensive play against Ingram where he stops him from hitting a pull-up shot. And that one really, really almost saved this game. Josh Green was really, really great in this game, I thought. 15 points, couple of steals. Didn't have as much of a playmaking effect in this game, but was asked to handle the ball a little bit here and there. And his defense, plus the things that he did on offense, I thought he was huge.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said he had 15 points off the bench tonight, but, I mean, was he the second best Maverick tonight?
I said he was. Yeah, I said as soon as Luka goes down, he was the best Maverick on the court.
It's just wild that's, kind of where we're at right now with this team. And it speaks a lot to the progress he's made. I'm working on a longer thing about him project right now. And it's just crazy to think about, where he was a year ago to where he is now. And just in that fourth there, some of those big plays. I mean, he was talking about after the game. I mean, he sounded like a vet after the game in his post-game presser. Not post-game presser, his interview with Bally after the game. It was just like, yeah, I mean, we didn't play well, all the same stuff. And it's it's just wild where he's at now. And I'm so intrigued that, I mean, I said it a few weeks ago. I think outside of Luka, he's the most valuable asset that they have on the team right now. And, going into the trade deadline and all that stuff. Maybe, I mean, probably a first round pick.
I think Dorian's a little bit more valuable, but he's valuable to the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Because he still has some room to grow for sure. Like what we've seen the last year is he can't play. Like they can't play him in close games, and now they have to play him in close games. Like the difference between where he was and where he is now is such a big step in the right direction for him, and such a big step for this Mavericks team. I just wanted him to be like an 8th, 9th man, and now he's like one of the 5th men. Right? He should be starting. If they don't trade Tim at the deadline, he's going to start for Tim.
He should be starting over Tim right now.
He's not because of the deadline, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't want to bench somebody.
You don't want to bench somebody you're about to trade. I think it's because of that. Now the minutes thing is kind of weird. I don't know if maybe the Mavericks see the minutes the same as starting and all that. But yeah, I think after the deadline he has to have a bigger role than Tim. Like if he doesn't, then I just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Reminder: we'll be doing pods over the weekend as we're doing a trade deadline dash. We'll be next Thursday.
Trade deadline dash will be on the Bleacher Report app at 3 p.m. Central Time, Dallas, Texas time, and tomorrow. So Bleacher Report app, and then we'll also do a podcast that night as well, talking about Mavericks trade stuff. We'll maybe have an update about Luka. The Mavs are practicing tomorrow, so we'll have some kind of update about that. See what happens. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.